Thank you. Please have a seat. Welcome to the first athletic assembly of the year. Tonight is a night for you and your teammates. You will hear short season recaps, and some players will receive individual awards. But before your coaches come up and say some nice things about your team and your season, on behalf of all of us in this room, I would like to give a big thank you to some people, to a lot of people actually, as it takes a big group effort to make things work. First, I'll thank all of you in advance for the perfect comportment you're about to show. Starting now, I'd like to see perfect comportment. Thank you for looking sharp in your school uniform, and thank you for the respect that you will show every single speaker and every single team, even when it's not your team. Also, thank you for switching off your phones. Please do that now. Thank you to Ms. Perron in the Health Center, and to your physiotherapists, Ms. Boudreau and Ms. LaBelle, for being the dedicated medical professionals that they are. By the way, you may not know, but last week was Ms. Boudreau's final week as our physiotherapist. She has decided to give her own private practice her full attention, and we wish her all the best in the future. Thank you to Ms. Robitaille and Ms. Hamilton for supervising the intramural program. Thank you to Ms. Nikki Campbell and Mrs. Wilkinson for running outdoor pursuits. Thank you to we'll thank everyone, clap at the end. Thank you to the maintenance department, lots of people, the ladies in the laundry, Mark, Mario, and Josh at the arena, our drivers, and our kitchen staff, all these people who work with us, not for us, to make sure that all of our program needs are provided for. And trust me, all those people are not just punching a clock here at Stanstead. They go the extra mile for you every time for you because they care about you. Thank you to Mrs. Wolf, who helps me in athletics. Thank you to the woman who really runs it all, Miss Alta Sheldon. This is Alta's 44th year here at Stanstead College. And although you don't need to stay for 44 more years, Alta, I've said it before, just stay as long as I am until I retire. Thank you, Alta. And finally, a thank you to your coaches. So not just for their commitment to your program, but because they're always trying to make your athletic experience as memorable as possible. Your coaches are going to be thanking you tonight, but I hope you take the time to thank them as well. So a big round of applause to all those people I mentioned, the people who made the first sports term of the year really happen. Thank you all. Now there's one final point of order, which is different than a lot of returning students might be used to. So if your name is called because you won an award, you will come up front to receive your award, but Mr. Murray will not take your photo at that point. Instead, all photos of award winners will be taken after the athletic assembly is over. So everyone else will leave to go back to campus, but all award winners and their coaches will stay behind for the after-party photo session. So without further ado, we'll kick things off with the Bantam Boys soccer team and Mr. Liverpool.
Thank you, Mr. Van Dyke. Good evening, everyone. Bantam Boys Soccer. Another season in the books, and what a wonderful season it was. I think this night, and as a result my speech, should be about you, the student athlete. So it's with this in mind that I open with a sincere thank you to all of you, the players. Baron, William, Trevor, TK, Kimmy, Chaz, Diego, Rodrigo, Jose, JP, Trofim, Bo, Christopher, Kieran, and KG. You have all worked extremely hard throughout the course of the season, and I'm very pleased with what we as a team were able to accomplish. From almost failing to field a team due to a lack of ineligible players, to qualifying for the playoffs for the first time in quite a few years. We've come a long way since our first meeting in early September. In fact, our results against Seminaire Salésien, which is possibly one of the best bantam soccer teams that I've ever witnessed play, our results against them was proof positive that we've improved over the course of the season. After struggling mightily during our first two encounters, with scores of 14-0 and 16-0, we had the opportunity to compete against them one last time in the first round of the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, this isn't a Disney story, and I can't tell you that we, completely turned the tables and we won. Unfortunately, we still lost the game 4-0, but 4-0 versus 16 and 14. So we came an extremely long way, and we improved a ton, and that's something to be very proud of. Now, the most amazing thing about this team is that it's exactly that. It's a team. And we were able to accomplish so much, and we did it all as a team. Now, while winning is fun, and it's one way of evaluating success, it's not the only way. In my eyes, regardless of how the season may have ended with regards to wins and losses, we've been successful, and I couldn't be more pleased. I am proud of our comportment at such a young age. I'm proud of the way we handled ourselves before, during, after every game that we played, and I'm most proud of the citizens that we've become and the positive manner in which we represented ourselves and Stanstead College. Once again, to the players and anyone, in fact, who had a hand in our success, because I determined it as success, even to the smallest level, thank you. Thank you very much for your effort and for your support. I really do appreciate all that you've done this season, guys. Thanks again to all of you players for turning up for practices and games come rain or shine. Last year I ended my speech with an old saying, and I think it's appropriate to finish with it again this year. And that saying is, it matters not whether you win or lose, but how you play the game. And once again, it was an honor and a privilege to be associated with a group of young men who play the game with such enjoyment, passion, and love. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Next, I'd like to talk about our Bantam S winners. I love it when a player does what you ask them to do. At the end of last season, I asked Barron, I said, hey, bud, could you maybe grow a bit over the summer? Put on a couple pounds, get a little taller. Well, he did exactly that. His physical stature is now on par with his intellectual abilities, which made him quite a formidable foe to our adversaries. A constant on our back line, Barron could be counted on to stand tall and erase opposition opportunities. He was our captain, and he proved his worth on and off the field all season long. A Bantam S and a great deal of respect and appreciation go to Barron Lovejoy. Maybe we could hold our applause till the end. I'll do all of them and then we'll applaud again. So Barron will get double applause, but that's okay. As the saying goes, speed kills. And I'd be hard-pressed to find more than a handful of bantam-age players who are faster than young Mr. Grenier. As mentioned earlier this week, Chaz was not officially named a captain for this team, but he took it upon himself to lead. I find it rare to see such maturity and selflessness at this level. Chaz spent the season doing the right things without expecting anything in return. A good soccer player and even a better person, I look forward to seeing Chaz next year as he moves on to the junior level with Mr. Vanas, and I'm excited to see what he can do at that next level. For his commitment to the team and his never-quit attitude, a Bantam S is awarded to Chaz Grenier. One of the greatest tools a player can possess from a coaching perspective is versatility. This next young man possesses this in spades. Throughout the course of the season, Trevor proved that he could pretty much play anywhere on the field and be effective. As a coach, I took advantage of this opportunity, and I asked Trevor to play several different positions on the field. Now, I know he didn't necessarily always want to play all of those positions, but to his credit, he never once complained. Late in the season, Trevor was injured and immediately accepted what was to be his final role this season, that of team supporter. Once again, he did everything he was asked and more without even whining, complaining, or feeling sorry for himself. I'm very pleased to award a Bantam S to Trevor LaForce. There's always one, eh? This next young man, like Chaz, has speed to burn. He spent the season consistently blowing by people and creating wonderful opportunities for himself as well as his teammates that could keep pace. This is a classic example of what a difference a year can make. William has improved tremendously in all facets of the game. He now understands the game better, and this has allowed him to take greater advantage of his skill set. While he was our leading scorer, William never boasted or bragged about this fact. Just one more piece of evidence that this team, and pretty much all of its members, are humble and mature beyond their years. It is with great pleasure that a Bantam S is awarded to William Towner. Should I do the sportsmanship as well? Nope, sorry, wait, one more. Sportsmanship award. I'm pretty sure that it won't come as any surprise to anyone in this room when I announce that the recipient of the Bantam Boys Sportsmanship Award is Rodrigo Hernandez. This young man will talk your ear off if you let him. But what's great about that is that he's always positive. He's polite, he's kind, and he's supportive. Oh, and did I mention, by the way, he's a pretty good soccer player too. Rodrigo had what I like to call a hands-up moment to one of the officials early in the season. I spoke to him about it once, and it never happened again. Once again, the maturity of this team amazes me. I have a tendency during these speeches to lament over the fact that there's only one sportsmanship award for it's pretty much every year that I feel my entire team is deserving. However, this year, the sportsmanship award goes to Rodrigo Hernandez. Now, come on up, guys. Come on up, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Our next program to be recognized, speaking for junior girls soccer, always a man with a message, Mr. G.
I'd like to start by thanking the athletics office and Miss Alta. I've thanked you guys tons over the years, but I can never thank you guys enough. You're details people, and I love details people, so thank you. I want to take a few seconds to give a very special thanks tonight to a rookie coach. Miss Amy Art, The Rock, La Roche. She is everything that you rookies, if you're an athlete or a rookie coach in the room, should learn from. She's enthusiastic, she's positive, she's keen, she's super nice, but she's not a pushover. She's kind of strict, She takes work away from me without me asking for it. So like, things like boring jobs, like filling out game sheets and sending out travel emails and those kind of things. She runs warm-ups. She takes half the team and runs the drill that we're trying to work on one side of the field. She's not a know-it-all. She listens, and then she coaches the same things that I'm trying to coach. We're on the same page, right? So, I mean, I could go on, but the speech isn't about her. But I just want to sincerely say thank you and welcome aboard, rookie. I think you're going to be amazing. And now, a few words about our team. It's the second year in a row that we've had a winless kind of season, so it's tough on me, girls. You're getting tough. I mean, I got to come up with stuff here. I tried to think of a creative way to describe our season, and so we are the Spartans at Stanstead, and BCS are the Bears. Massey Vanier are the Vikings, Richmond are the Knights, and Galt are the Pipers. So on the evolutionary food chain that is junior girls soccer, we are just slightly above those cute, furry, purple teddy bears at BCS. Yeah, we eat those for lunch. But then we are a long, long, long way from any humans that carry swords and battle axes or who play the bagpipes. Yeah, Massey, in one of those weird years, you can always count on Massey, Richmond, or Galt, one of them to have a good team. All three of them had an amazing team this year. There's nothing we could do to beat them. They were just ridiculous. We actually scored one goal on them this year. One goal, folks. One. And it came off a corner kick that Simone happened to stab into the net, and I think she did it just to impress the ref. We had a 14-year-old ref in Richmond who was, I'm not kidding, the best ref we had all year. So don't judge a book by the cover. The kid was amazing, and I congratulated him afterwards. I loved his reffing. I thought he was really in charge, and the other coach was kind of giving him a hard time during the game, and he wasn't listening, wasn't paying attention. He was more mature than an adult, so it was impressive to watch. So what do you do when you spend your entire season inside your own half? You work on defense, right? That's the answer. I talked last year about how you got to change the narrative. Just forget the score. It doesn't matter if it's 6-0, 8-0, 10-0, or 14 or 16, I heard. Wow. So you just change the narrative. Find other things to focus on, right? So we, in practice decided we're going to compress the team inward, so that's coming off the sidelines, and clog up the middle, take away their passing lanes, shooting lanes. Anybody with the ability to dribble through us is going to have to run into 3 or 4 of us and not just deke everybody and shoot and score, right? Force their lower percentage shots from outside the box, outside the 18, so it's easier on our goalie to see the shot coming and stop it. Anyway, all of these things, how do you measure this? It's tough when you're still losing games, right? How do you see it happening on the field? So one of those ways was our last game of the season, we played Massey Vanier. The first time we played them, they scored 4 goals on us in 20 minutes. 4 goals in 20. And the last time we played them in the first half, because the second half was a disaster, but the first half was great, and it took them all of 20 minutes to score 1. So I realize it's not a great metric, but it is a metric. It shows that we are actually applying things from practice into games. Another one was playing BCS in exhibition. They weren't actually in our league. We played them in exhibition, and we beat them the first time 3-2. Second time, tied them 2-2, but I blame the ref in that one. It was me. I never blame refs, by the way, only if I'm reffing, then I'm allowed. And in the third time we played them, we were totally in control. We beat them 2-0, and we were in control of the ball, and it was really nice to see that. And it's really nice to see the kind of growth on our team from individual players. Like I remember Lana Peasley, one of the smaller players on our team, who at the beginning of the season was getting run into, and she'd have tears in her eyes. I'd have to go onto the field and give her a minute before she got back up, and by the end of the season she's still getting knocked off the ball, but at least there's no tears in her eyes, right? There's like she's realizing that, yeah, okay, soccer can be a contact sport, right? Or watching somebody like Ariel, who started with a bit of a knee injury and couldn't play, and folks, Ariel is the fastest 12-year-old I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. I'm taking bets right now on the all-campus day at the end of the year that Ariel and Bantam Girls is going to clean up. She is, you've never seen this. She makes everybody look like they're standing still on the field. It's ridiculous. She has a step, like she switches gears so fast, it's unbelievable. I could mention this, little improvements, things about every girl on the team. I'm not going to do that. But just little things that coaches watch, and it's nice to see growth from everybody. My favorite part of the season was the last 2 practices. I split the team. We had 8 bantams and 9 juniors on our team. So I split the team and had the bantams play the juniors. Let's see what happens, right? So, the first time I said loser gets to do tire flips, because you got to make it worth something, otherwise, they won't really compete. They got to compete. You want them to play, right? And then the second time they were playing for donuts or something, and they actually played their hearts out. The bantams were leading in both games. So what that says to me is what's amazing about this is to watch the growth of the program. The longevity means that we're going to have probably a better team as the years go on, right? So to me, those last 2 practices were really the whole season, watching you guys work your hearts out and trying to win and playing as hard as you could, and doing all the things that we talked about in practice, passing the ball and calming things down and everything. So it was great to watch that. I remember having a conversation with Mr. Simard. I'm going to end with this. I remember having a conversation with Mr. Simard at one point during the season, one of those beautiful days on campus where you're sitting at the back of campus and you're looking and the fall leaves are in the trees and you can see the schoolhouse, and it's just an amazing view from back there. And I like to hang out sometimes and just kind of think things through. And I was there with Mr. Simard talking, and I said, "You've been doing this a long time, over 30 years, and he coached for 28 years, 2 teams, and I think some years he was coaching 3 and maybe even 4 teams in 1 year, which is unbelievable. He's had a long and illustrious athletics career at our school." And I asked him, "How do you do it?" And he says, "I just like working with the kids outside the class." And I thought about that, and I was like, wow, those are words of wisdom. They're simple, but they're amazing words for all of you to hear, because it's really true. As teachers, sometimes we're seen as that teacher in the classroom, but we actually enjoy that moment after school every day where we get to come outside and maybe trash talk with you guys and in practice and all of that. We just love it. It's really why we do our jobs. We really enjoy that, and it's what keeps us going. So I want to thank you girls sincerely for an awesome season. Thank you. We're giving out 3 awards, so you can hold your applause to the end. The first is the Sportsmanship Award. It goes to Maria, our goalkeeper. It's hard to find a goalkeeper, especially when you're going to lose every game. You're going to get scored on a lot. So this really hit home with me what kind of a quality person she was when we went to play golf. And I had to tell her, she already had the yellow jersey on, and I had to tell her that she hadn't been cleared by our school nurse to play, and she had tears in her eyes. Even though we were playing Galt, who beat us 10-0, she would have been in nets for that. She still wanted to play. That's how much heart and how much she loves playing, even though she knew she was going to lose. So Maria, you're amazing. You get the Sportsmanship Award. The 2 junior S's are going to be a surprise to these 2 girls, I think. The first one goes to a midfield player who has the dirtiest feet on the team. And the dirtiest feet, if you're not familiar with that, means the trickiest feet. She can step over the ball. She can stop the ball. She can fake one way, go the other way, turn players inside out and dangle them. She's calm, and she can actually shield the ball, turn her back. These are all things that take time to develop, soccer skills that take time to develop. And Alexa, you're probably now in hindsight the best soccer player on our team. And the last junior S goes to a defensive player who last year I was kind of hard on in terms of taking up space on the field and being in the right place. And this year it just came naturally to her. And every time the ball was heading in her direction, Coach LaRoche and I would be like, wow, she's got it for sure. We were never worried. She has the best kick on the team. She took all our corners, all of our goal kicks, all of our free kicks, and that's Sage Lovejoy. Come on up.
Thank you, Coach. The next program to be recognized tonight is Junior Boys Soccer, and the coach of that program is Mr. Vanass, and it is Mr. Vanass's birthday. Mr. Vanass, coming up.
Thank you. I'm actually really nervous to make this speech, so if you don't mind, I think we'll take an Instagram picture just to, cut the tension. No, I'm just kidding. Great job, though, this morning, Tyler. So I know we're not supposed to do too many thank yous, but I can't go on without thanking Miss Alta. She does an unbelievable job. She keeps me and the rest of us on task, making sure that everything's ready when we're going away for away games. Same thing with home games, so thank you, Miss Alta, for all your help. I also have to thank Coach Thomas. It's the second year we've worked together. I think we developed a nice chemistry together. I know a few times I was away. He was able to fill in, made a lot of good suggestions in practice and in games. So thank you, Mr. Thomas, for all your help this year. I really appreciate that. So the junior boys season was an interesting one. I can't say it involved a lot of winning early on. Through our first 8 games, we only had 2 wins, one against Massey, one against BCS. But going into the 8th game of the season, our second to last game, we knew that we had to win that game. If we were able to win that game in regulation, that would get us into the playoffs, into the 4th seed. So all of the players knew that was at stake. Safe to say, the way they came out, the way they played during that game certainly showed it. We got up early, we maintained the lead throughout the whole game, and we ended up winning that game to secure 4th place. So as the great, famous Mr. Van Dyke would say, it's not about winning, it's about the process of winning. But if only you could see the face of all of our players when we actually won that game. They really realized what was at stake, and they were so happy to know that we had one more game and one more chance. The only problem is that by securing the 4 seed, we had to play against the 1 seed. The 1 seed this year was a team from Salésien. They played 10 games. They didn't lose a game all year. They actually didn't even trail in a game all year. So they were an exceptional team. So in the practice leading up to that game, we made sure we focused on a few things and compacting the middle and making sure we had 10 people behind the ball. We really only had 1 striker high that would counterattack. And that strategy ended up playing out quite well for us in the first half against them. Not only did we have a 1-goal lead, we also had a 2-1 lead. So at 2 times during that match, we were ahead on them. Unfortunately, with about 20 minutes left, they were able to score 1 on a nice goal. And then with about 5 minutes left, they were able to get a penalty kick on a harmless ball that was sent in that hit one of our players in the hand, and they scored. With only 5 minutes left, we really didn't have time to come back and counterattack, at that point. So unfortunately, we lost in that game, but I think that game alone, considering that Salésien had not lost all year, they went on to win the championship. They won 12 games all year, and we were the only team that had a lead on them, and really the only team that played a close game against them. I think that really shows just how much progress we made as a team, how much the young men were willing to buy into what the coaches were telling them. So the improvement was unbelievable, and it's really a shout out to you guys for putting in all that work, coming out to practice, showing up to the games, and being ready for everything that was kind of brought to you. So a big hand for you guys for everything you did this year. So this evening we decided to give out 3 awards to our players. The first one goes to a striker. As Mr. Grenier later referenced, he also had dirty feet. He was the fastest player on our team, probably the fastest player in the league. He scored almost half our goals this season, and as the season went on, he really found a knack of finishing in tight. So the first Junior S will go to Lorenzo. Second Junior S goes to a young man who played midfield all season for us, sometimes in the middle, sometimes outside. He also had exceptional feet, was able to distribute the ball, and as the season went on, really learned to shoot the ball a lot more. Scored a fantastic goal. That was our second one to give us the lead at Salésien. One of the most talented players I've seen at the junior soccer level for a long time. So the second S goes to Guillermo. And the third S of the evening, and also the Sportsmanship Award, goes to a young man that I think is pretty special. After only 2 practices that we had for tryouts, I decided to name him one of the captains, which is pretty rare on my teams, to name somebody that's a first-year player as a captain. He always showed the other players the right things to do. He always showed up on time. He was always ready to work. Kind of had a quiet demeanor about him, but made sure that when there was something to be addressed, he would address it. And I can't speak enough to how good of a young man he is, and also how good of a soccer player is. One of our most talented players, controlled the back end for us all year, distributed the ball, and he's just a really special player. So the third S of the evening, and the Sportsmanship Award goes to Mateo.
Our next program to be recognized is actually the first program of the night that can give out major S awards. And so for those new to the school this year, here at Stanstead, we recognize major S winners with a standing ovation. Speaking proudly for the ultimate team, Miss Norris.
So I'm going to try to make this short and sweet, not because I'm super nervous or because there's nothing to say about this team, but because Tyler's already said everything. So, just kidding. So I wanted to continue the Stanstead tradition of athletics and just give a thank you to everyone who contributed to making this season possible. So thank you, Alta, for keeping everybody in line and making sure we were always prepared. Our bus driver for making sure that we got to our games, and McDonald's. The maintenance and cleaning staff for preparing the fields and keeping our jerseys clean. Charles for offering his support. Miss Wolf for her support, her warm clothes and hydration. Mr. Van Dyke and Miss Hession for endless support and coaching advice. And finally, Miss Bernier, who struggled and laughed and cried alongside me. So when Mr. Van Dyke asked me to coach Frisbee, I was thinking about it and a couple of things came to mind. 1, I don't know anything about Ultimate. 2, it was the first ever Ultimate team. And 3, I don't know anything about Ultimate. So, as you can imagine, I was feeling a lot of pressure. So my first instinct was to turn to YouTube. And I figured Ultimate for Dummies was a good place to start. Luckily for me, Miss Bernier had also watched the same videos. It took a while for practice to start, to flow, and for Frisbees to fly. Now, as an inexperienced team, now as our team was super inexperienced, it was through this mutual inexperience that we were able to create a completely unique and special experience. Typically, when you join a sports team, there are several players who already know how to play, and definitely your coaches do. However, creating a team where neither the players nor the coaches had any prior experience allowed for the opportunity to laugh, fail, create, argue, question, experiment, and succeed. We learned together, we practiced together, we played together. And although not every practice went smoothly and not every game led to success, we were the first Ultimate team. We were the Ultimate team that laid the foundation for future Ultimate at Stanstead. There were 4 challenges or struggles that our team faced. 1, there are no refs, and a player is responsible for calling their own fouls. 2, Ultimate is a non-contact sport, which was a foreign concept to the majority of our players, including myself. So inevitably, there was quite a few fouls. We traveled a lot, and I don't mean like on a bus, I mean when you walk when you're not supposed to. And yes, that's considered a foul. We accepted fouls without question, but we rarely called fouls on other teams. So this is both a positive and a negative thing. Positive because we didn't let other team fouls dictate how we played. Negative because we didn't capitalize on other teams' mistakes. So there were some truly amazing successes that this team achieved. So Ben's effortless cuts into open space, Claudine's hard throws, whether you were 10 feet or 2 feet away from her, Nikita, who was always looking very confused but would somehow manage to catch the frisbee even when he wasn't looking, Haley's strong defending presence on the field, who was one of those players who often forgot about the no contact rule, Sam's calming ability to control the game. Will had two modes. He had practice mode and he had game mode, otherwise known as sleep mode and go mode. So in practice he jogged, and in games he made highlighting diving catches. Anna's consistency in every game, consistent in the sense that she never got any worse, but she always got better. Matt's towering 6'3" height, is it 6'3"? Something like that? Okay, 6'5", is that fair? He was a powerhouse on defense. His opponents were no match. It's physics, guys. It's all relevant, throwing, height. Evan's inclusivity on the field and making sure that everyone had an opportunity to touch the frisbee. Justin and Tatsu were our best players when it came to injuring their coaches. One gave me a bloody nose, and the other left me with a giant welt on my forehead. So despite the injuries, Justin was a reliable player. He was strong on defense and made great catches on offense. Now, singling out individual players is always hard because no player is responsible for a team's success. However, there were 4 players who represented sportsmanship, hard work, and dedication. I'll ask that the sportsmanship and the senior S come up together. So our sportsmanship is shared between 2 people who demonstrated what it means to be a teammate. Juliet was always encouraging, laughing, and supporting her team. Her voice was impossible not to hear on or off the field, and she frequently won the female player of the game from the other team. Tatsu, although not being eligible to play in games due to his age, was at every practice and every game working hard and if not harder than anyone else. He took the lead for our team warm-up because he wanted to make sure that our players were both physically and mentally prepared. David has earned a senior S for his ability to create space, plays, and opportunity. He always gave his full effort each game and rarely complained. He encouraged his teammates and even the other team. One game we were ahead by several points, and David was defending against a kid half his size, like me and Mr. Prevost difference. So he cheered up his opponent by having a mini dance party, literally mid-game. Realistically, I should have been irritated, but seeing his little opponent's face change from discouraged to cheerful made me realize that David knew exactly what he was doing. So you guys can come up and receive your awards. Okay, so now for our final award, our Major S. So this Major S goes to no one other but Tyler Crothers. Tyler is more than deserving to be recognized with this Major S. He is an embodiment of what this sport represents: teamwork, sportsmanship, and precision. He spent an endless amount of time and effort working on his throws and game strategy. And although he wanted to be his personal best, he, like any good captain, wasn't working diligently for his own glory, but was focused on self-improvement in order to make his teammates look better. So I'd like you all to join me in congratulating Tyler Crothers.
The next program, along with being able to award major S's, is the first program of the night that also awards an MVP trophy. So not all programs have MVP trophies, so just like we do for majors, we recognize trophy winners as well with a standing ovation. So speaking proudly for the cross-country running team, Miss Reynolds.
Just kidding. Okay, first order of business. Ariel, where are you? Fastest 12-year-old Mr. G has ever seen. What are you doing playing soccer? Cross-country running. Hello. Okay, so firstly, I want to thank Alta, of course, for everything that she does for the team. I want to thank all of the students that came out from intramurals to help out with their home meet, as well as the faculty members, including Miss Wolf. And lastly, I want to thank Coach Kirkham, who was always helpful to me at practices and at meets and supported like you wouldn't believe. You know, kids would just be running by. It's like, way to go, way to go. We needed to get one of those cowbells or something. I don't know. So we always have an interesting group that comes out to cross country every year. This year is absolutely no different. We have the natural kids that just can run forever, and then we have the kids that want to work for it. So I want to talk about a few athletes in particular. They're not necessarily award winners, but I just want to mention them because they work hard all the time. First one is Cindy Zhang. Cindy came to me at the beginning of the season saying, "Miss, I really can't run. I really can't run and I'm really slow." And I said, okay, let's give it a try. As long as you're always working hard, show me the effort, you have a place on the team. So the practices start at the beginning of the season with baseline testing, and yep, she was pretty slow. It's okay, Cindy. What she did was she worked all season long. She worked hard, with heart, always gave her best, and she actually even placed in the last couple of meets in the top 7. So congratulations to you, Cindy. I really appreciate the hard work that you put into the season. The next crew, this was given to me by our 3 Musketeers as part of my coach's gift. It's not here because I'm diabetic or anything. I want to mention Oscar, Corey, and Benham, and as you know, because Oscar would often mention this at our team announcements after races, they proudly came in last place, hand in hand, honestly, like crossing the finish line like this. The only time they did not come in last place was at our last practice, when there were donuts on the other end. So I said, you have to run to Tim Hortons. I think they were second. Possibly. So I think we should have just placed donuts at the end of the finish line for every race, and they would have got there a little faster. Eddie Boydell is another example. He really didn't like cross-country running. He's no longer with us. Obviously, he's in Australia. Summer there, I think. I don't know. But he worked hard all the time, and he always came in the top 5. Lucy Wang, always smiling Lucy, all the time. Always working hard in practice, and actually came in second in one of her her last race, because no, her second to last race, because in the final she kind of twisted her ankle and we had to, you know, bring in the ambulance. Not really, but you know, Miss Kirkham. And Alicia worked hard all the time, along with some of the other crew, and she always placed in the top 7 as well. But she always worked hard. Crystal Lynn worked hard with shin splints all the time, running in agony and miss, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then there was Ben Chadwick, who, we got to give a shout out to Ben Chadwick, because he placed in the top 7 in the last race of the season. So they don't necessarily get awards because they're not the top runners, they're not super fast or anything, but they ran with heart, and they wanted to improve throughout the season, show dedication, positive attitude. Those are the things that make a true athlete, in my opinion. So I want to thank all of you that came out to practice with a positive mindset. We're willing to work all the time. Needless to say, if you did put in that work, you showed improvement. So good on you, and congratulations to the whole team for placing second in the league overall. Congratulations. Okay. I'm going to move on to the awards now. So beginning at the junior level, there are 2 awards that we're going to give out, and I'm going to ask them to come up together. Junior S is awarded to a runner with natural athletic ability, and she worked hard at every race, sometimes a little whining when it was cold. That's okay. Constant contributor to the team, always working hard, Rosemary Lefebvre. second is to another natural athlete who had a great attitude, showed up ready to work, put his time into practice, always showed up with a positive attitude, Antoine Remillard. Come up together, guys. At the senior level, again, come up together. A Senior S award is being given out to an athlete who was injured for part of the season, but always worked hard at every practice that he was able to participate in. Obviously, a very eager carrier of sticks in all of the races, Alexei Berube. Congratulations. The Sportsmanship Award will be shared by two athletes. Already mentioned them once. They always helped with stretching sessions, taking attendance, keeping the morale alive. Oscar and Banam. Come on up. The last award is the William Green Shields Memorial Trophy for Excellence and Leadership in Cross-Country Running. This year it goes to a junior runner who participated in all of the races, placed in the top 3 in his age group at every race. Please stand as we recognize once again Antoine Remillard.
Next program to be recognized is Senior Girls Soccer, Mr. Varro.
All right, Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first, you're last. Well, we couldn't agree less. We might not have been first, but we were not last. And dang it, we were proud of that. We gave BC, wow. We didn't have the best season we could have. We gave BCS their first win in about 5 years. We definitely had some bad games, but we had some good games. We even had some great games. We kept the 2-time case champions to a 4-1 game. Yeah, we even scored against them. But could we score against Galt? I mean, Galt was good, but Havergal was definitely better. That said, we made it to the semis of our league. We played against Galt. It was another great game. We held them to 0-0 until the final minutes of the half. The girls killed themselves on that field just days after case, exhausted and sore all over. We were in every minute of the Galt game, and they made them earn that win. As a season, as a coach, we're proud of the girls. We did better in case this year than we did last year. We worked hard. We learned, especially learned not to take the penalty kick before the ref blows the whistle. And we improved. And in just a 2-month season, that's all we can really ask for as coaches. And the season was a definite win. So we have 3 awards to hand out. They'll come up together, 2 senior S's. First go to Mariama and Samantha. Both girls played multiple positions throughout the year. They played for just about every minute of the year. Sam even stepped into goal when needed. They controlled the ball, they controlled the middle of the field, and they were both dominant players. So congratulations to you both. Now the Sportsmanship Award. I don't know how often the Sportsmanship Award goes to a girl who got our only card in the last 2 seasons, but it was definitely an accident. The foul, not the award. No one is more deserving than Ariella. A word to describe Ariella is feisty. She's fun, involved, excited, sweet, tenacious, and youthful. Yes, that spells feisty. She even says sorry to the other team when they run into her. She was always the hardest working player on the field, day in and day out. She won balls against girls twice her size with twice as much experience as her. She did what was asked of her, she did it to the best of her ability, and we hope she comes back next year. So congratulations to Smut. We have one major dress to hand out and our MVP award. If you can't figure out who's getting this, you obviously didn't come watch our case games. She's the reason we weren't last. She's the reason we had a chance in any game. She also won Athlete of the Week the first week, and she never disappointed all season. So congratulations, Elizabeth Shane.
Our final speaker of the night, wearing the red tie, speaking for the senior boys soccer team, Mr. Samard.
Good evening. Yeah, usually the mic doesn't work and the lights don't work, so it's consistent. A few lessons for you. First of all, thank you for the brief introduction and the heartfelt introduction. Thank you. Some lessons for you from our term. The first one is smarts. You need to have some smarts in whatever you're doing. Athletic, in class, learn the most that you possibly can from everyone around you. And for me, and for many of you, I could say a name or I could do something else to explain what I'm talking about. I think you know who I mean. The famous doctor, a fellow who can, by the way, fall asleep pretty much anywhere at any time. On a bus, definitely. We've seen it at lunch. Possibly in class, because I don't get to the 5th floor maybe once a decade. And no, he's with us tonight, so we're good. Doc is so smart that he did this about halfway during our season. It was raining and he does the stats. And of course he's trying to break the numbers down and he says, I can't possibly do this. And so I said, well, okay, no problem, figuring that was the end of that day. Unfortunately, what he said was, I can't possibly do this anymore, and he didn't do them for the rest of the season. Smart man. He also was quite good with the math, although my grade 9 will know that we had some mathematical things to do. We went to Docky, and he got it wrong. And Lucy Wang in grade 9 got it right. So for Jeremy, if you ever have a problem with he's not as, you know. And he also said his response was, by the way, oh, I just computed it wrong. So you can work with that. So number 1 is smarts. Number 2 is footwear. No matter what you're doing, wear the proper footwear. Now, I know the hockey guys aren't taking the laces off in the 3rd period. I know in basketball that does not happen. We had a few players where we were looking down the bench for someone to go in near the end of the game, and 4 were not properly dressed. Someone had Birkenstocks, someone had running shoes, someone had only his socks, and Mr. Johnson had his socks and shoes off, and he was nude. Not nude, but nude from, you know what I mean. Number 3 is poker. Why poker? Well, some of us like poker, but there's things to be learned from it. Not competition, more like exhibition. And the first one is angle shooting. I don't know if it came from billiards, but angle shooting means when you pretend to be following the rules and look like it, but you don't actually do that, and you try to gain an advantage. And we saw that more than a few times, including a coach of the other team who did this to one of our particular players to basically explain it to you. When you go for a substitution, when you go to the 15-yard line, that's when you can do it. And this team can do it at a certain point, and this team can do it at another point. And when both are there, it's open to all. It's called piggybacking. And so we had one of our top students there trying to sub in, and they had their guys there. So that should be anyone can go in. And this referee actually said, no, 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 referee, I didn't ask for a substitution, trying to keep our number 7 off the field, which is kind of a little bit of a not very good thing to do. Okay, that's angle shooting. And the other one is poker face. And poker face, you know what that means? You try not to show your emotion to the people in front of you. We did it in a PK contest where I picked a certain student by the name of George Correa. I picked him, and he won, and my face was like this because I wasn't supposed to tell. And when he won, I went like that. So one of the students said, "Oh, good poker face, sir." But the other one is a little more serious, and that was when we were playing a team who didn't exhibit the best of sportsmanship. And that's basically what I told the guys afterwards. We're not happy, but you got to have your poker face, and you got to say, "Good game," a handshake, and move on. And that happens from time to time. That's number 3. Number 4 of my lessons of the day is know the names of the people who you're dealing with. And I have a little bit of a problem with that. I think among the faculty and most students, you'll know that probably between 20%, I will either call you by a nickname because it's easier, or get your name wrong. And that happens to me all the time. In our group here, we have a student from New York. You know who I'm talking about? Could you stand up, show everybody who you are, please? I found out that his name is James. His name is James George. I've been calling him JJ since last year, and so there's a little confusion that comes in because his last name is Jorge. And now the next person I'd like to stand up is from grade 10. He lives in an island just off of Senegal. Could you stand up, please? Okay, that's George, also Jorge, but that's his first name. Thank you. And the third one is a grade 11 student from Korea. Oh, he's over there. And that is Holy. And the reason why that's important is because in our first scrimmage, I knew that we were 9-on-8, and I said, that team, you're going to be down by a player. Just work with it. And they kept saying, "Sir, we're not down by 1, we're down by 2, we're down by 3. And I said, "What are you talking about? Here's the list. Here's what I..." And of course, George Korea and the guy from Korea. So the guy from Korea thought he meant to go say we're both on the same team. So know your name. So from then on, we called him, who's going in? Korea, the name, not Korea, the country. And the last name to talk about, if I could get JJ to stand up. No, not that JJ. That JJ.
Sorry, JJ. My colleagues have been calling me JJ for the past 16 years, so I'm sorry. Maybe I own copyrights on that? Only about today, okay. What do you want me to do? Panayotti Ephraimidis.
You have to go to the language department and proper pronunciation to talk about a young gentleman who we could call by many, many things. I thought maybe Shakira, but he probably wouldn't like that. I thought Drake, but maybe not. I don't know if he's a musician. Then I thought of Plato because he's Greek. And then I thought maybe, how about Pele? Or how about Ronaldo? Because he only has one name here that we've ever talked, and that's Pana. So his name will always be 4 letters long, P-A-N-A. That's it for names. Is that it? That's it for the lessons. So ended the Lendis. We'll go to the stats. We started our season 0-3. We then won 5 in a row to go 5-3 in the league, and another one in case. So our ET record was 5-3. Our case record was 1-4. That doesn't sound very good, but I'll get back to it in a sec. It's not that bad. Our playoffs were 1-1. So overall 7-8, and 4 of those losses out of the 8 were losses to BCS, which is a little hard to take, but that's the way it went. In case, the way case works, I don't know if you know, it's 20 teams, and we used to be, the last one I checked with Mr. Van Dyke was when I organized it in 2011, we were ranked 8 out of 20. This year we were ranked 18, so we've gone down a little bit, and we therefore play everyone who's better than us. Out of the other teams we played, everyone was better. Our first game we won, so that's already a great thing. The next one we were 0-0 through 60 minutes and lost to a much better team, 1-0 in that game, and then the other one was against a real top team who went to the final, and we lost against them 5-0. The fourth game, the semi-final was the tough one because we played BCS. After losing twice to them, we were leading 2-0. They got 1. We hit 2 posts. They got another one. It went to overtime, and they beat us in overtime, and they went on to the Silver Division champions. So that's tough to take. But all in all, we're pretty happy with that as a team, and I would like to thank all the players. And now we'll move into the awards part of the evening. We have 4 to come up together, please. 2 of them will share the sportsmanship, and those are Jack Lipman and Nick Pecora. These are 2 gentlemen who are always positive, always helpful, helped with equipment, and will play anywhere, and always very positive in their approach. In the senior S, the first one is Korea, the name not the country, George, whose footwork was so smooth, he would travel end to end. He had flashy skill and played, again, every position. The other one only has 4 letters, Pana. Okay, another person who played many positions. He came to us late, and I used the word with him, competitive. But I might be angle shooting. Competitive means he works really hard, but he has an edge to him that we need to sort of rub off him a little bit with yellow cards and so on. But another great guy who worked very well with Ryan and played a lot of defense for us. So those 2, George Correa, Pana, Jack, and Nick Pecora, please. Okay, the first major goes to someone who isn't here tonight, so we won't have a standing O for him. A grade 9 player, the top keeper, not only in the school, but in this league. An unflappable player. This guy was unbelievable in terms of his defensive skill. He actually made a penalty kick save and scored in a penalty kick in the same game. He will develop over the years. He has to help on his voice and presence and his ball distribution, but I'll ask you just to clap for him. Patricio Gutierrez. The next one goes to our captain, a grade 12 student. Played the most minutes for us this year. He dominated the midfield, and he scored the second most goals for us, often by the head, which Docky learned. And that is Andrew Bouchard. Congratulations. And the final award for our team, it is a major S and the Bobby Moore MVP trophy to our top player. Our opponents feared him. He's also in grade 11. This gentleman scored 13 goals in 15 games. He scored a natural hat trick. Everybody knows what that means. Not just 3 in the game, but 3 in a row. And had a streak going of 8 goals in a row over 5 games. One person. And that person and the winner of these two is Ryan Young. In that we're in a former church, and no offenses to Bjorn there, but what they usually say at the end is, "So endeth the lesson."
Thank you, Mr. Simard. That concludes our Fall Athletic Assembly. Thank you all very much for your attention and comportments. I'd like to leave you with a final quote from John Wooden, the most successful coach in NCAA basketball history. The best way to improve the team is to improve yourself. All award winners and their coaches, please stay behind for your photos. Do not leave. That includes all S's, MVPs, and sportsmanship awards. Everyone else, when you return to campus, second half of study is on. It will begin, hold the phone, Alexi. It will begin at 8:45, followed by the free skate at 9:30. Please let the faculty in the audience leave the church first. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good break.